Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to UFO Twitter News Nightly. I'm your host, TeeJay Felony. It is March 24th, Tuesday night. Going on a little late tonight. I was over hanging out with Stephen Cambion and his live stream, and I try not to clash with the content creators that I enjoy. Plus, I like hanging out in Cambion's live chat, and I got a clip that was actually kind of interesting. It applies a little bit to what we're talking about today from over in the Cambion show in the chat. I'm gonna play. Earlier tonight, I also got sent a couple clips about our topic from last night. Psych ward Mike and all the lies, whistleblower Mike and that whole saga. Um, Things are starting to happen, which is interesting with this channel. Is people are watching and they're seeing what the topics are, and they might have a clip or a video that is relevant, and they're sending them to me, and it's freaking awesome, and it's the real hate group's biggest nightmare. The people within their friend circle, other members that have been quiet so far, they're starting to speak out, and the more it happens, the more it's going to become obvious. And the theme of this episode is going to be themes. You gotta pay attention to themes when these guys are displaying a theme, which recently we showed Red Panda Koala running Money Penny out of the community, and then in our show yesterday, they're doing the exact same thing to J Just. This is a good example of a theme. You need to pay attention to the themes. People, I fully understand people lose their cool and say or do things, especially in that community, that they either don't mean or that doesn't, represent them in their best light. But when someone's giving a theme, when they're over and over again, distributing the exact same behavior, whether it's ripping people off money, terrorizing girls, threatening people, it's important to pay attention to that shit because it's a pattern of behavior. And, pattern of behavior is dude, that's how you base judgment on someone. It's how you should base judgment on somebody is by the pattern of behaviors they display, and you catch that a lot around here. um so pay attention to themes when they display themselves. What's up, Rotary? What are you up to, bro? I'm gonna jump over to the lab here in a second. I got some stuff I wanted to show that came in that we're gonna do on our intro. We're gonna go over current events like we always do. What else? And then I'm gonna do a little segment on some of my favorite music. That was gonna be this week's theme, is some of my favorite music. And I'm gonna do a segment on the Jacksonville drill rap war, which I kind of gotten interested in through the true crime aspect of what was going on in the streets of Jacksonville based around this music, this competitive rap scene. And I ended up finding a lot of musicians that, like I listen to regularly today. Some of my favorite rappers are coming out of this Jacksonville scene. So it's something I'm interested in. A lot other people might not be, as interested in it, but at some point, I gotta make videos about shit that I like. I can't always just talk about, UFO Twitter assholes at some point. I gotta, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they be wilding and out down there. Um, Another thing I wanted to say really quick, when I was switching over the chat here, there were posts in yesterday's chat that I didn't notice. I just saw them now. Red Panda Koala was ranting about that I've been being awful to this girl in the community. I'm not gonna name her name anymore because that's not the point. Um, this is the girl that sextorted me. She was sent by these UFO Twitter, gatekeepers, basically to try to get dirt on me. And the method she used was trying to obtain D pics from me. I've been posting evidence of this, screenshots, things like that, and these guys consider that to be harassment. When you expose somebody or put them on blast for the things they've done to you, it's harassment here. And if Red Panda Koala had examples of me being terrible to this girl, they would be posting them everywhere. But of course, there's nothing. It's just me reminding the community of who this person is. I'm gonna try to avoid doing that so much in the future. Uh, I mean, one Twitter groupie isn't gonna wreck the whole show, so. But that's what that crap is. He was rambling at the end of my show yesterday, and I didn't catch it until just now. Also, there's a big contrast between how Red Panda Koala comes into my live stream and behaves compared to how I behave when I go over to his. If I even challenge Red Panda Koala in any way, I get attacked by all of his mods in his chat. It'll be like Heather Birdie and all these cult minions. They start threatening to boot me if I even try to push back on the topic they're talking about. But Red Panda Koala can come in here and launch accusations and everything else, and we just let him do it because we believe in free speech and we have nothing to hide. That's the difference over here. If I went over to his live chat, which he seems to be doing a lot now to try to counteract what I'm doing, and if I acted like he did over there, they would boot me probably within minutes. So something to kind of keep in mind. It's just not an even, playing field with how these guys show respect. It's a theme. You got to pay attention to those themes. Um, Give me 1 second here. I got a little bit of a technical error. This shit always happens. Alright. Shrink that down because you're not supposed to see that yet. Alrighty. Like I said, earlier tonight, I started getting a few videos from people that, first off, I was gonna show a clip from Psych Ward Mike from Red Panda Koala's show. That way people could see what this guy looks like. And I believe Panda took it down because I asked him like, "Hey, which was the one you did with Psych Ward Mike? I'm gonna do a react to it." And dude, I couldn't find it after that. So someone, a supporter of the show, was cool enough to send me a clip. And what's interesting and relevant about this clip is I believe this is could be after he was court ordered to stop, but they're talking about the stuff I mentioned yesterday where I was talking about how they were threatening this young lady's job. They're talking about that here. And just look at these goofies, man. Like it's just that anyone takes these guys seriously is amazing to me, but let's play it.
First of all, Ray is like having. First of all,
So I wasn't gonna name her because these people have left the community for the most part and they don't want no part of it. But right away he names her off the bat. And look at these goons, dude. Look at Tupa. Look at his goon sauce face. Like look, Red Panda Koala always has his goofy hat on. Like, who the fuck are these people? Um, but this is Psych Ward Mike, this obese moron that put on a fucking jacket that he just got from the garage sale next door. It makes me look like a professional researcher. He's always got these big goofy sunglasses on. But let's hear what they have to say. I'm sure it's really important.
all right, I'm not gonna say who.
Why is he waving around this rainbow wand also? Oh, this is hilarious too. You have Ashton Forbes even contributing down in the corner, the guy that was defending the Epstein stuff, saying that Thomas Massey was full of shit and nobody should pay attention to him. He's saying right here, it gets much worse. No, it doesn't. It- How? This was sold. How did it get worse?
This person out here is claiming to be on stimulants. Someone I know who says they're a therapist.
Okay, and this is where it gets funny, bro. This is where it gets next level ridiculous. This was the allegation that they hurled at this girl, that she's on stimulants. Are you dumb motherfuckers talking about Vyvanse? You guys are talking about Vyvanse, aren't you? So these clueless idiots don't understand that doctors are also on medications? Because that's what they're trying to push. That's what they do. They push little tiny slivers of truth, but there's no basis in reality. You're telling me that a therapist isn't allowed to be on prescriptions? So what happened apparently is at some time Ray opened up to these wankers, or probably Dahlia, Mike's wife, and mentioned that she's on Vyvanse, a very common medication with women. I don't know if it was specifically Vyvanse, but probably in that category. Women, when they get a little older, into their 30s and that age, a lot of them have issues with chemical balance and stuff. Dude, it's so common, and they end up on Vyvanse or something. And it's a prescribed medication, you moron. And remember, the um, theme of the theme of this show is themes. What was Tupa attacking me for over in that space? Remember about being on methadone maintenance. So who and why do these clueless wankers have the right to judge who's on prescriptions and if that's okay? Are any of these people doctors? What do they know about any of this shit? Also, Psych Ward Mike, the reason he allegedly ended up in the mental ward was because he was taking shrooms way too often. And it started to have an effect on his paranoia and stuff. His dude, I got a clip from his wife here in a second too. But here they are attacking a girl because she's on a prescription medication, using this as ammunition against her in the community, and it actually leaked over into where they were trying. It was looking like it could have even affected her job. And look what else they say.
Claiming to be on stimulants and then also uses marijuana.
Uses marijuana? Who the fuck says uses marijuana? And look at Pan and Tupa like, dude, they're shocked. They can't believe that someone in today's age would be using marijuana. You guys are such clowns, dude. Like, oh, what a gotcha. Once again, the themes thing. This guy, Psych Ward Mike, when he doxed me, it was a juvenile arrest report from when I was like 12 years old, and it was marijuana. So these guys, this guy right here, can eat loads of shrooms and talk about it in spaces about it, how it's blowing his mind, bro. This guy over here, Red Panda Koala, can snort Adderall all night. That way he can dominate UFO Twitter with an advantage that no one can match. Because unless you can go 3-4 days straight grinding on UFO Twitter, you can't match a Red Panda Koala on Adderall. You got Tupa boosting Gap and getting caught. And they're out here judging and trying to cancel and shame a girl because she's on Vyvanse and smokes pot. These are the gatekeepers of UFO Twitter. They decide who is supported or who gets destroyed. And it doesn't matter if you have a reason to, they'll just make one up. And their supporters will push it and drive it through. Oh, she's on stimulants. Are you slow? These are prescribed medications, you dumb fucks.
And is a child's therapist. Isn't that like?
To me, the weirdest thing of what you
Oh,
just said was
isn't that like?
KMF. Yeah.
You're
I didn't get what why he mentioned KMF there. It's not in the clip, but this is just how socially clueless these guys are. Like, could you fucking imagine being thinking that no therapist or anybody that works with children are allowed to be on prescription medications like stimulants. It's so stupid.
You got somebody who's like
Dude.
fucking a drug addict.
Look, Tupa, dude, you mean she's on a regular medication regimen and smokes pot occasionally? Bro, my mind is blown. Are you guys slow? What the fuck are you doing? How many people have you guys done this shit to? Because there's a lot of my friends, Dandy, that you guys pushed a bunch of nonsense through.
Like doing therapy to children. Like what the fuck? And they're admitting it on Twitter.
Admitting it on Twitter. That's another thing that caught me off. Admitting it on Twitter. What that means is we pretended like we were cool with this person and infiltrated them, and eventually they opened up and gave us a little bit of personal information, and now we use it against them. That's why this guy was kind of pushed out of the quote unquote hate group because he was untrustworthy, he was a backstabber, and he would weaponize personal information. The reason Panda supports this guy is because he gave everyone's DMs. Like he was in with like King Milkfart and all these people that called Tupa out for his racist insanity. Mike was contributing more than anyone to the hate pile, but he blocks all his out and then shows everyone else's. And that's why Panda supports him, is because he was kind of like the leak in the quote unquote Loot crew that they created. I got two more here. Let's get this one out of the way. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. This was when Psych Ward Mike went to the Psych Ward, and it was an attempt to try to skirt responsibility for what he had been doing. And what happened is Dahlia started posting on, I think, TikTok and trying to reach out to the victims of UAP Mike and do these little subtle apologies. And this is what she was doing. And then they just flip back to attacking him like a couple months later. So this was on, I believe it was TikTok. This is Dahlia right here. It'll blow up here in a second. Give me a second. So the first one was her posting this cryptic thing where she wrote, "I'm sorry." And I believe this was like, "I put my husband in the mental hospital. I want to be cool with you guys." That's what she was trying to do here.
You're looking for something new. I know somebody that you can choose. What about me? What about me?
It's so cringe. Yeah, it was TikTok. And then the next one here, I'll blow it up. It's just her sitting in the car. It was kind of weird, but it wasn't meant for anyone else but the victims of Psych Ward Mike. And it's just her sitting in the car here, and it says, "Me taking my husband to the hospital for a voluntary mental health and mental health hold. Me taking my husband to the hospital for a voluntary mental health hold." And that's Cosmic Dahlia. And that was her way of kind of like reaching out to them and being like, "Look, Mike's gonna get help. Please don't pursue the court stuff." And yeah, it I don't think it worked, but that's what they tried to do with that. And nothing changed, but Mike just kind of gets out of the mental hospital, floats back in with the Tupa crew. He's court ordered to leave everybody alone, and he immediately starts holding "come fight people in my spaces" and starts harassing them. So that was just an update from yesterday. I wanted to go over. I thought, thank you to the people sending me clips too. Keep doing that. Any supporters of this show, if you got clips, and I'll keep your identity secret. If you don't want people to know, I won't tell anyone where they're coming from. Um, this is Steven Cambia tonight. This just happened just before we went live, so it's kind of a jank clip, but I just threw it together, and it's interesting, and it's something I've been mentioning recently. Stephen Cambion, go subscribe to his show. It's called Truth Seekers, and that's his whole spiel, is getting to the bottom of the truth about things in ufology. And I've been trying to not employ, but inspire the truth seekers to get in gear and start looking at some of these things that are happening on UFO Twitter. You know, the Rogers coin rug poll, all the merch scams, these guys bragging about learning from Keemstar directly how to grift and rip people off. Cambion's done things on Keemstar and stuff, so it overlaps, but he seems to be real neutral on the topic of the Tupa Crew hate group, and it kind of touched base during the Cambion show earlier, and I was even surprised that he put up what he did, because these content creators don't want to cross the Tupa Crew hate group, and honestly, I don't really blame them. If you have a successful show going, they've seen what these guys do. They watched what they do to Disclosure Tonight when people started gang stalking Mike. You know, they see. They're not dumb. And that's why they kind of turn a blind eye to the Tupa Crew hate group. I'm not asking for Cambion to dislike anybody. I'm just asking for him to look into some of this stuff with an open mind. And ask yourself who really is the hate group on UFO Twitter.
Anyway, we're happy
If you
to
say
be
so,
here.
TeeJay, I don't know.
So it starts out, it's kind of funny,
It's a good time to be alive.
where
It's a good time to
we're
recognize.
we're just talking about, what we were talking about, how I think Wilcox's face it looks kind of paralyzed on one side, like he's had a stroke at one time, which is sad. You know, you don't wish health problems on anyone. And I just asked because they know everything about Wilcox. That's one of the big things they cover over on Truth Seekers, is the Wilcox saga. And I asked him, like, has this guy had a stroke or some kind of Bell's palsy? And that's what it starts out as. That's what he's saying now.
That we are not alone. And yes, we only notified you last night on the X page because
Donating
I
to the
wasn't.
Wackadoo Fund.
Again, I was having a
Yes.
hard time this past week.
Here comes the
So
complaints.
I wasn't really sure if I was going to be doing the show, but then at the last minute I said, no, I just got to get out there. But hey,
David Wilcox, he strikes me as like the customer service complaint manager for like the shittiest, scammiest company ever.
If you guys are looking for regular, consistent content, just entertaining, fun content, Truth Seekers is one of the best channels. Probably could be the best channel on is involved in ufology. The chat is really chill. You can say anything you want. Nobody's gonna get butthurt and kick you out. I mean, with reason.
Right? It's like, let me tell you all the complaints about everything that went wrong with my.
I actually was in the Good Trouble show chat with Matt Ford, and they don't really care for me over there. The mod threatened to boot me out twice, and then another mod that liked me started arguing with him, and yeah, I caused problems over there, so I probably should stay away from that one.
Life this week. It's so terrible living in this $2 million mansion all alone.
hey, we're still doing pretty good. For 11 minutes in, we have 1,300 viewers. I'll take it.
What do you say? 1,100 viewers? Yeah, go ahead, Rotary. As long as it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Donating for him to
Never
keep
be
living
afraid.
in his
The enemy
basement.
of
No, he
mankind
lives in a
eats that
$2 million
stuff for breakfast.
mansion, Ralph Master.
So, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, Cambion found, it's a two-way street with Cambion and DSP though. What I've learned making videos is the hardest part of it is coming up with tomorrow's episode. Like, once this episode ends, I start thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? And DSP and Wilcock, they never stop creating videos for you to react to.
Not a bad thing
It's dented.
when we have
Yeah.
angelic beings that guide us and protect us and want us to.
I mean, I'm not really like a control freak, but Yeah, I mean, I have an ego like everyone else. I don't like when things don't go my way, but I don't have like a temper problem where I lash out about it or anything. But I like being in control, especially over things that, you know, are mine. That's one of the reasons I came to YouTube and like doing YouTube videos is because in the UFO Twitter spaces, whoever's hosting has all the control, and they decide who's heard and who's not. And YouTube is the one place where I'm in control, and that's what scares a lot of the hate group.
To be safe, you have the
You know,
power.
again, they're not angelic beings. If they're lying to you, David Wilcock, the being that you claim that you channeled for 2 years now lied to you. All the predictions were wrong. All the prophecies were wrong. He told you to take baths in your own piss. What kind of a person what kind of angelic entity that cares about you is telling you to do something so unsanitary?
I put in the chat, what about a trickster spirit?
Right? It doesn't make any sense. He's not in communication with angels. He's just a con artist and a scammer.
Within you right now.
So what started it here was someone says in the chat, it's crazy there's people that defend and feel bad for Wilcock. And I chimed up, and you can see the long
You have the
message because what I don't feel sorry for Wilcock that he gets this clowning and this treatment, but I recognize that he's just one of a sea of wackadoos on in ufology. I don't think he deserves any more shit than the rest of the ufology wackadoos. They're all the same to me. And so I think just like Lou Elizondo, I think he's treated unfairly. Clowned. They all deserve to get clowned, but I think he's unfairly singled out.
To be able to transcend all of the negativity. You have the power to go beyond your own limitations.
Oh, ancient aliens and stuff. But dude, the other guys from Ancient Aliens are treated really well. Nick Pope and Giorgio. They're kind of beloved in the community.
You have the power.
All that,
to
and he
become
still looks
something
like
greater
shit,
than you ever
Sherry.
thought you could be.
Still looks like shit.
And we are
For his
all
age.
working
He's only
our
53, I think.
we are all working our ascension
A
path
lot older
together.
than 53.
We're all
Wilcock's little graphics crack me up so bad. He puts everything in little graphics. It'll be like, I'm going through a rough week.
all doing this together.
Channel
We're all in the
cash,
same boat
yes.
together. And that is
Prepping for a
very
colonoscopy.
important.
Ew.
I'm here with you now, and we also have cosmic beings
It
around.
is
Gap had really warm hoodies. Like they did something on the inside of them where they were really like soft on the inside.
crazy.
They've never left.
People feel bad for this
They've just kind of become temporarily hidden for a while, but that's not going to be that way for much longer. When we get disclosure, when we get an open
Okay, so there's my long message, and this is what started the us towards this little, path. I say I don't feel bad for him, but like I just said, I think he gets unfairly singled out. And I said, but he creates so much content day to day that it's hard not to, use it and clown it. And Cambion reacts to it, I think, and yeah, then we start going back and forth.
acknowledgement of the
It's
truth,
never coming, David.
that is
like
when
your wife.
they are
Disclosure's
authorized
never coming.
to show
Neither is
themselves to
ascension.
us in a
Just
way like
your
we've
wife,
never seen
David
before.
Wilcock. She never came either.
And,
Oh my god.
it's really a good thing.
Those are the things that when Wilcock watches Cambion back. That's the stuff that makes him sad.
To have these beings be with us because they are protecting us against negativity. And so I
Negativity. See, the beings protect Wilcock against Cambion's negativity.
remind you that we are not alone. We are not simply throwing ourselves against the winds of fate.
No, Wilcock talks about. He talks.
Yeah,
or Cambion.
Something
Creepy
good is going to
smile
come
he
out of
uses
all of
during the
this
freaky
negativity that we're
meditations.
seeing.
Yes.
We're actually dealing in a concrete
Yes,
cosmic
you are,
universe
Raph, You're doing something wrong.
where these beings
Get
help
your
us,
grift
they
on,
guide us,
man.
they support us.
So, right there, I posted. I want to speak with Wilcock, and that's the truth. I do want to have a back and forth with Wilcock at some point because in one of his episodes, of all this insanity, he touched on the stuff happening on UFO Twitter. He specifically named Red Panda Koala. I don't know if he named Chupacabra, but he specifically talked about how they're a nefarious group that are, being controlled by people above them. And dude, he everything he talked about UFO Twitter specifically was spot on in my opinion. So I put in there, I try to be cordial with Wilcock because I down the road I do want to have a conversation with him about that stuff. And that's when he mentions it.
It was a scam like
We've
this
always
guy.
been
My
here.
work.
We've never been left alone. We've never been left out in the
Just
cold.
cucumbing. Yes.
And in fact, they have given us messages very consistently telling us that there is a silver lining. They told us to expect wars. They
I think
told
we
us
should
to
all
expect
send
earth changes.
send
They told us to
dildos
expect
to his
strange
PO box.
upheavals.
That's what I think.
None of this is a surprise, you see.
Thank goodness you
Do
have
you
87
communicate with
different
them?
camera
Well, I'd like to
angles.
think
Your
that
audience is
we all
impressed.
do. I'd like to think that dreams are one way in which our higher self or higher consciousness can reach us. And
No,
also, of
dreams are
course,
just
in the
dreams,
past, I did
moron.
telepathic readings. And again, I'm not saying it's anything special or different. It's something that I believe we all can do. Tune in, listen to that still small voice.
Yeah, he
Some
is
might call it the
psychic
Christ
readings for
consciousness. Just
morons.
tune
Here it
into what
is,
it's
I think.
saying, write it down, try to tune out your conscious mind, try to tune out any influence,
Yeah, he just put it
and
up.
just listen from
Yeah,
deep
he
within.
did.
So he just put it up. And that right there was a step. The Cambion even put that post up. I want to speak with Wilcock because he seems to understand what's going on UFO Twitter with Tupa and Panda. And I even say I want to speak with him because he knows he's mentioned that the Tupa crew are shady, how shady they are. And he put it up. Cambion first put that one up.
Write those words
This is
down.
this
That's what
red
I did
panda
again
guy.
yesterday, and I think the results are
Freaking
pretty cool.
rocks.
Now, again, it's just me talking, but it all
Someone in the chat asked me about it. Oh, I think Broken Hip was in there, yeah. And I said, yeah, I said he's definitely suspect of Pandy, because Wilcox mentioned Red Panda Koala.
also is, I believe, inspired.
Yeah, he
So
did
we'll
say
just
that.
say that it's an inspired
Well, you can become psychologically addicted to
words that are coming in, and that's
you know.
okay.
people get
Love and appreciate you so much,
addicted to
David.
porn
Continuing
or
with the topic of
cannabis
angelic
or-
ascension guidance, we need to be reminded of this. We are all communicating with our angelic teams. Yes, I believe that. I do believe that there is a grander order to the
like
universe
Wilcox
and that
White
there are
Rock.
beings that are keeping us
It
alive
gets
and
better.
safe.
There's
It's
more.
an esoteric belief. I get that. Trolls just love it. They say, oh my gosh, David is so full of it. None of this stuff is real. Ha, ha, ha. Well, you don't have to believe this.
People are saying this is
But
bullshit.
I do think that there is something
There's
going
people
on.
in
I
his
do
live
think the
chat
UFO
saying,
phenomena will be
"Bull."
disclosed.
So right here I say he was spot on about what is going on with UFO Twitter. True story.
If that makes me a snake oil salesman or something, I'm sorry. But, we're at the point now where we're
He
getting
knows he's a snake
official
oil
acknowledgement
salesman.
of disclosure.
No, we didn't. They said they're going
And,
to release files, you moron.
There's a lot of things going on that are really cool. There's a lot of things that are happening that have transformed our reality
That's good
and
ones.
given us a whole
It's right here. He puts it up and reacts to it.
new perspective on life, on the universe, on everything. And I want you to enjoy that. I want you to be able to be here with me so we can
So he told me I'm a little biased towards them. And listen to what he says
work
next.
together to feel good about what's happening,
Who's
because there's so
scammier?
much
Those guys, TJ,
competing
or
for your
David
attention
Wilcock?
right now to help
I
you
think
feel
Wilcock's
bad.
scammier than
There's
them.
just a lot of this
They're just
really
clickbait.
weird, intense negativity.
He said, who's scammier, TJ? Those guys or David Wilcock? I think Wilcock is scammier than them. They are just clickbait. And I say here, nah, it's much more than that. They are paid narrative control. And yeah, that's the end of it. That's the well, no, actually there's one more segment. But what I want to say is this idea that, well, Wilcock is a bigger, dirtbag. So I don't buy that. Like, just because there's levels of scumbaggery doesn't mean it's not all scumbaggery. And it seemed kind of like a way to skirt it. But just the fact that he's engaging about it is opening the door to have this conversation. And I think it's a promising step, honestly. If people are willing to just, because otherwise he wouldn't have just not put him up on the screen and just ignored him.
Oh, I realized I didn't turn on
Me and Cambian gonna have this conversation whether y'all like it or not.
my light here. That's one that I missed, so let's turn on that one.
How do you
Okay,
not
got
turn
that
on the
done.
lights before you start the show? He does this every
Now in the background, I have this light tree that's actually lit up.
So yeah, so what else in the chat? Let me see. Broken yeah, was hanging out in there too. They said, I don't know, Cambian. That might be something to unpack on another day. And he reacts to that also.
So you can see it the way it's supposed to be seen, and that's great. So look, don't be afraid. That's the whole bottom line. We're going through this week after week. It seems to keep getting more and more intense. But we are all working the ascension path together. And I believe, what is
His
that?
audio
What is
was
ascension
bad.
again? It's this concept that our souls are going through some type of evolutionary process. That even though it looks really challenging and really difficult and upsetting on the surface,
Here it
and
is.
yes, all those elements are present
Why do
in
it
our
before
reality
the
right
show
now.
when you can do it during
There's
the
a
show?
greater spiritual agenda to what's happening.
Here it is. Yeah, bro, he just put it up saying that seems like a conversation to have on another day. And listen.
There's something happening to all of us that is transforming us into a new level of being, and that was the message.
Yeah, maybe broken hip, maybe. Oh, dude, that's a promising sign. The people, what that tells me is, cause these videos are getting a few hundred views. It tells me that people are seeing them and they're willing to at least talk about it, which that's all it's going to take. Once you start talking about it, all the secrets are going to come pouring out, dude. All the secrets are going to come pouring out. Yeah, broken him. That was crazy. I was surprised he even put it up. I really was. Uh, I think what'll happen is they'll all start telling on each other. I really do. All right, let's go over some Twitter stuff. Oh, the big news of the day. I just got this right after, or right before the show. Lou Elizondo was in a motorcycle crash. This is from Tio's YouTube or Twitter channel. Look, dude, it looks like he face planted. Apparently he had to miss a deer, I believe it says. Yeah, it says Grand Prix. I was avoiding a family of deer. And yeah, dude, it looks like he did some. I don't know if it's bruising or scabs or like road rash around his face, like whether if he had a helmet on or what. But even with a helmet on, if you crash going fast on a motorcycle, you'll be all bruised up and stuff. So it could be bruising, but oh look, his hands are scraped up too. Thank God Lou Elizondo is okay. What would we do without Lou? But yeah, positive vibes for Lou Elizondo and his wife. They called up the 82nd Airborne.
Will leave soon for the Middle East to begin assessing what will be. Fox News alert, 42 minutes past the hour. This just in. Orders have been given for the 82nd Airborne to deploy. As of now, the commander and his headquarters element, his staff, will leave soon for the Middle East to begin assessing what will be needed once the target is set. So that is the update we have for you right now. John? Fox News alert, 42 minutes past the hour. This just in. Orders have been given for the
82nd Airborne, the tip of the spear. I don't know if you guys have seen this shit. This guy from the Jack Reacher movies, Alan Richson, got in a fight with his rich neighbor. Let's take a look. So, I guess he was out zipping around on his dirt bike with his kids, it looks like, and apparently that you wear like a body cam, that way you can put it on TikTok and show everyone how awesome you are, and it pissed one of his neighbors off. Look at this crazy. Okay, he knocks him down there. Dude, look at these freaking mansions. You know, and these rich elite prigs with none in the world to worry about. They're out here fighting over dirt bikes. Look at those houses, man. My friends growing up lived in a lot of big ass mansions like that.
You threatened my safety, bro. Are you kidding me? I should not be fired him. Go ahead, go down. Go ahead. I'm called the BPD. I'm called them already because you've been driving around this neighborhood like a lunatic.
He said you've been driving around the neighborhood like a fucking lunatic. I think they're in Australia.
There's kids running around here. Go ahead.
I could be wrong.
Are you drinking? Go ahead. Call police.
He said, "Are you drinking?"
Out of your mind, dude. Call the police.
Why this struck me is it shows the kids a couple times and they look either like they're completely used to it or they're terrified. You guys will have to give your opinion. It just showed the kids for the first time. Right here, I think it shows them again.
I should have run you over, dude.
He said, "I should have run you over, dude." He's wearing a helmet. What's with the themes of all these motorcycle crashes, huh? Alright, so he gets ready to take off, and it's like it's about to be over, but the guy just keeps talking shit. You can hear him in the back. The kids are thinking, can we please just get the fuck out of here? Look what he does, though. Oh, he's still trying to block him from leaving. Yeah, at that point, I probably would have put hands on too. If you're trying to block me from just, exiting the situation. Ooh.
Fucking out of your goddamn mind.
So he knocks him down. It almost like he kicks him or something.
Stay down.
Tells him stay down.
Stupid.
Look at the kids. Like, dude, that's the one that bothered me. The shot that bothered me. You can't see their faces, so you don't know. But either they're used to this type of thing, like because their dad's a celebrity, so I'm sure they've seen him get hostile with paparazzi and shit, or they're scared to death.
Christ.
Who's in the wrong here? Look, he tears into the yard a little bit too. I couldn't decide who was in the wrong. Both men, both adults. I wanted to show the end of it because that was something I thought was kind of strange also. Watch what he does here. He just like takes off and leaves the kids back there with the crazy, which I thought that was weird. You know, rich prick problems. But why I thought it was a little strange, yeah, it seemed kind of routine, right? Why that part of it was a little weird is you never see him turn around, like his body turn around to look back for the kids. Like, well, because I wouldn't have left, I wouldn't have taken my eye off my kids, because that guy, once you pull off, he's gonna start fucking with them. And he just hauls all ass down the street, which just seemed kind of weird. But let's see. This explosion that was happening in Texas, it was at a energy plant. I don't a natural gas plant. I don't know if they ever got updates on this. I took a nap but there was a natural gas plant burning explosion. Ugh. Sorry about that, y'all. Let's see. Friend. Oh, here's a Bledsoe clip. This is from Tio also. We'll watch that.
And there's these two orange balls.
I like
Huge.
this one because they do these they have these little AI mock-ups of all of his experiences, and I thought it was kind of cool. It's not like, realistic looking AI. They do these like diagrams, and it just looked kind of cool.
I went to Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I met with Chris Bledsoe.
We were all fishing right in this very spot. And there's these two orange balls, huge, and they were motionless, sitting side by side. What alerted me, a third one came in the blink of an eye.
The third one came.
And I turned around in a pretty good clip, not running, but a good paced walk back to the river.
Look at that.
Right on
the AI alien.
on that little rise, but if I reached my hand out and leaned over, I could touch it.
It was really dark out, and I happened to be looking down that way, and I saw these two orbs, about this big, about waist high off the ground. Just next thing you know, I didn't see any more orbs. I just saw these little creatures come walking out of the woods.
We weren't sure whether this really happened to him or he was making some of this up to try to corroborate his dad's story. So we think it's really important for us to bring in these other three witnesses who were there.
Did you see the young Ryan?
You could see what looked like bright stars, that were scattered across the tree line.
That seems to be a independent witness. What's up, red panda koalas?
And you could just see them descending slowly.
Oh, panda.
And that's when it freaked me out. And I saw, hey guys, look, y'all see them? Y'all see these?
I got so paranoid I opened my
Look at that
guy.
He tries to remember, he thinks about it, he gets these severe smashing headaches, and he can't remember what happened up there.
The regression hypnosis took place on July 14th, 2008, and we videotaped it.
Where are we going? Tried to hide.
Gotta start somewhere, Pandy.
They're looking at me. There's four of them. They're so tall.
It's actually kind of interesting, Pandy, that you come in and do that stuff, but you block people to participate in here. Like, even though that you have no reason to. So it seems to bother you even though it's only like a handful.
Skinny.
Your words say one thing, but your actions say another, Pandy.
Real tall. 7 foot or better. They're not human. They're not human.
This memory regression, hypnosis stuff, so much. One of the things I found when I started to get, more involved on UFO Twitter is so much of ufology is and is based and connected to this memory retrieval crap where they hypnotize you and all of a sudden you're having dreams about aliens.
4 of them.
Uh-huh.
I want to try it, dude. That's the only way to know is to go try it and see if anything weird happens with you. I've had some strange experiences that it would be strange to see if anything came back.
Go home.
Okay, Michael, go ahead. Push it to the limit.
Are they telling you why you were chosen?
Uh-huh.
What reason was that?
They're my guardians.
Looking after you?
Uh-huh.
Rotor. Stimulants! Everybody's on stimulants! Panda, the UFO Twitter has a stimulant problem.
Just try to be as relaxed as you can. Okay, ready to go?
Yeah. Rotary, do you guys have Adderalls in Europe? Yeah, it's a happy kitty tail.
Did you make up any of the information concerning what you saw in the sky?
3 months? Congratulations, bro. Getting off medications can be hard.
No. Have you conspired with anyone to provide false information regarding what happened on the night in question? No.
Oh, he did a polygraph.
Make up any of the information regarding the entity you reported seeing on the night in question? No.
What does it say?
I'd say he failed the test.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm going to tell you that his deceptive responses were focused around things that he actually saw.
Dude, that was such a plot twist for me.
He wasn't being truthful about the entity.
I don't think so.
I know my mind. Remember me telling you there's like 2 parts of me?
Someone's told me that he failed a polygraph, but for some reason I thought for sure this time that would, because it was like how the music was being played and stuff. I thought for sure it was gonna. It's like, I think he failed.
There's an inner part that says this was there, and there's an outer part that says maybe, maybe not. And it was there. I'd stake my life on it.
It was tough. It was tough not to believe him. He was so sincere and so strong about...
How about the Crohn's stuff? How did this guy have diagnosed Crohn's disease one day, and that's something I need to look more into. Were there doctors, what you talk about white blood cell count, or I think that's how they monitor Crohn's disease. Was there proof that he was on no medications and then it went into complete remission? Like, that's the stuff I want to know about. The Crohn's disease stuff is what really interests me, because I have, people in my family that deal with it.
What he was saying.
Well, I know what I saw. There is no doubt in my mind what I saw. Whatever this machine says, I don't know. And don't care.
Oh, you care. You care. You totally wanted to pass that shit.
I have to say that Chris Sr. just came across so well. And his demeanor and his body language and just his very simple talk. And he was obviously a very intelligent man, but at the same time a very simple man. And I just got the sense that there was an element of truth here.
We found a similar case from 2001 up in Wisconsin where the craft that was seen there was almost identical to what Chris was describing. The whole egg shape and the protrusions. In fact, when I put them side by side, I was amazed at how similar they were. I think this case shows that we're dealing with a real phenomena here. And it's important for folks to know this is not science fiction.
That's what it showed you? That's what that all showed you? It's interesting. Jesse Michael. Neil posted this. I just thought the AI art was kind of cool, but... Greer, whistleblower, sees man-made Tic Tac UAP on ground, on cover On covert mission in the Middle East, hear him in person, May 8th, National Press Club. Only, what the fuck, dude? Only $50 to attend. When, anytime you put a price tag on knowledge, you lose me immediately. Like, I'm already checked out because of that dollar sign right there. But I thought the AI image was cool. And why is because you're gonna start seeing everyone doing this, and it catches your eye in a manner where you don't know, like, wait, is that a real photo? Like, it's so realistic looking that it's like the ultimate clickbait bullshit. But it's cool. I mean, let's see. Alright, I think that does it. I'm gonna pop over on YouTube and we'll start my segment on the drill rap scene. Yeah, we went over Lou Elizondo. Here, I can show the thing. If I can find it. Dude, he's kind of chewed up. I was surprised. I should have got that graphic of someone made one of Panda where it was him dressed up in the deer suit and did anyone else see that shit? Um I'm trying to remember if I commented on it. But here's Lou. I couldn't tell if this is road rash scraping or bruising, but he definitely took a spill. His wife's pretty. Um, who made that freaking graphic of Panda? I'm trying to think if I commented on it. I won't be able to find it. I'm push over on YouTube. It was like a 4-picture comic, and it had Lou driving his motorcycle, and then it had Panda in a deer suit making him crash. It was pretty fun. I didn't see that one. Tupa isn't funny. Panda, you're at least entertaining. There's nothing really entertaining about Tupa. I don't see any entertainment value there. You're at least funny. You're at least likable. Maybe it's because you haven't spouted all the crazy racist stuff. You kind of lose me at slavery was a choice.
You'll get all proper credit.
I think I'm telling you, bro.
Oh,
Let
look, Panda. It's your clip, bro.
Put you on the Keemstar fucking thing, bro. Get your account making some money, dude.
The what?
And it feeds into each other.
Wakaka's reaction's funny. The what? Wakaka realized that it was a recorded space, most likely, and he didn't want any part of it. Okay. This is gonna be a little segment about the Jacksonville drill rap war. It crossed over into the true crime interest that I have, so that's why I went kind of crazy with it. But what ended up happening is I discovered all these amazing young rappers, and they all put anything on the radio that you're gonna find to shame. It just all revolves around this horrifically violent scene, and they don't last. Julio Folio was unalived last year, but you're gonna get to see all that. This is one of my favorite channels that covers it. It's Trap Lore Ross at YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and play this one first. It'll do the setup, and it's just tragedy at every corner, and wasted talent. Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's do it.
When you consider how he came up. Folio said that he had to buy.
This video is sponsored by Dr. Phone.
I get the everyone's gonna be interested in this stuff, but I gotta start doing videos on things that I like, not just because everyone seems to really push the drama crap, and those are the videos that end up getting more views. But I don't really care about the views as much as making content that I enjoy, and also I want to start branching out and getting people to pay attention to my channel outside UFO Twitter. So I might cover different topics that aren't UFO Twitter based. Usually it'll be like paranormal or true crime stuff, strange true crime cases, ufology, that kind of stuff. Anything I've used from Traveler Roz, this is free use to educate the public about violence in Jacksonville. Fair use.
Where is Corbin Johnson? The 18-year-old's parents say they dropped him off last week at a job interview and they never saw him again.
Corbin's parents say they have no idea where their son is after his friends called looking for him too.
One boy shot my house up. I was right there on the bed, me and my little brother Quan.
I'm from the north side of Jacksonville.
And the north side has a reputation for being one of the more violent sides.
Tulio Fulio. Out of all of them, that's my favorite rapper, but he was unalived last year. The case is still pending. It's at trial now. But he's the one that really stood out of the whole war.
Right.
But I like artists on both sides of the war. Youngin Ace is on X. You can talk to him. He's really cool. He'll talk to you, and he's the leader of the other crew. You'll see.
Yeah, that's the most violent side of Jacksonville. Ball Creek off of the long strip. We go to
Gunfire erupts in a local neighborhood, leaving one person dead. He was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Northwest Jacksonville apartment complex.
Her family was woken up about 1:30 in the morning Saturday when a brick came crashing through a sliding glass door in the back of their house.
Friday, the city had 3 shootings within hours. One was in Durkeeville, another was off Gate Parkway,
For
and
real.
another near
Rest in peace, Julio Fulio.
20th Street in Talleyrand.
Those gunshots killed a man in his mid-20s who was standing outside the front door of this employment agency.
3 people were shot, and the search is on now for 2 suspects.
Shell casings and markers cover the 2100 block of Brooklyn Road. JSO says a suspect fired about 50 shots around 2:30 Sunday afternoon.
The men were driving when another car pulled up next to them and began shooting at them. 22-month-old Aiden McClendon was shot and killed.
4 men were shot
in the head.
Shot in a mass shooting.
He was shot and killed.
Shot to death.
Shot.
Gunshots.
I heard 6 gunshots.
And what you're gonna find is these are all men and women, there's women involved, where they all lost people extremely close to them. Nobody goes out, and I mean there's a few that do seem to enjoy it in these crews, but it's all because they were pulled into it, because of losing people close to them. That's a theme, the common theme in this story.
At the start of 2021, a song called Who I Smoke came out and went mega viral. Now from the outset, this looked like any innocent hip-hop video, with a bunch of nice-looking, well-dressed young men out on the golf course for an enjoyable day teeing off on the green.
It's Youngin Ace and his crew.
These young men seem to be known as ATK, okay. Well, it turns out that that ain't the name of their local golf club. In fact, you might have missed something very important if you didn't pay attention at the start of that video. Because when the first guy tees off his golf ball, a bullet shell casing drops to the ground. And once this subtle reference to shootings has passed, we then begin to hear a very familiar musical sample, Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles. Well, what a charming song to hit a few balls off the green to, eh? And for the first 30 seconds of the video, all we see is our well-dressed protagonists jamming out to some Vanessa Carlton and having a great day on the course. But at a certain point, the beat drops and these boys go from Tiger Woods to tie him up and put him in a woods. Because what followed was one of the most diabolical and disrespectful diss songs in hip-hop history. This song, Who I Smoke, goes on to reference around half a dozen murdered gang members, many of whom were only teenagers when they were killed. No real guns appear in this music video, only hidden and coded references to violence, like the shell casing dropping to the ground at the start, or the toting of fake water pistols instead of real guns. So the
guy holding the water pistol, that's Fast Money Goon. You have Youngin Ace is the leader of ATK, and then the other guys in that video were Wappa with the Choppa and Spinabins, and they're blood brothers. And they made this video, and dude, that Vanessa Carlton got lots of shit for allowing them to sample it, and she did it in the guise of artistic freedom. And why this song was different is because during the chorus it says, "Who I smoke, little Bibby," and Bibby was 16 years old when he was killed, and it references real people from these streets of Jacksonville. A lot of them, like he said, were minors when they were unalived. And after this song, violence took off in the city. This was kind of when it sparked.
Calming settings of the visuals of this music combined with the demonic gang shit that the rappers are actually speaking about, unsurprisingly, made this piece of media go mega viral. And before you know it, it seemed like everybody on social media was singing "Who I Smoke." However, very few people took a step back to understand exactly what or who these gang-affiliated golf course gophers were actually talking about. Since then, countless of hilarious reaction videos have been made to "Who I Smoke," along with a handful of breakdowns which try to get to the heart of exactly why these two groups in Jacksonville have been beefing for so many years. Now, I've spent the last few weeks taking a closer look at this story, and I would say that until now, nobody has truly captured the magnitude of the wild shit that has gone down between these two groups. And after everything I've learned, I'm honestly convinced that this right here is the bleakest, darkest, and most disrespectful feud in rap, hell, even gang history. Because in many ways,
100%.
the Jacksonville hoods...
Do you hear that? This is the darkest, just absolute, every turn there is tragedy in this story, in rap history, gang history, he said.
The boys...
That's why I kind of focused on this case, is I knew it was something different.
Involved in this story come from are truly some of the most dangerous and deadly in the entire world. Seriously, some of what you're about to hear today is going to make Chirac look like Disneyland. So buckle up, pour a drink, roll a woods, and prepare yourself for one of the most craziest and heartbreaking stories that hip-hop has ever seen. But allow me to warn you people, this one is not for the faint of heart.
Traveler Ross is so good at freaking intros.
Today's story takes place in Jacksonville in the northeast of Florida. Now, many decades ago, Jacksonville became a consolidated city-county with Duval County. This created one metropolitan area called the City of Jacksonville and Duval County, an enormous area which actually is the most populated city in all of Florida. Now, that's not strictly important for this story, but sometimes you might hear people referencing things that went down in Jacksonville or Duval County. Just know that they're basically one and the same. Now, if you've been a fan of Florida rappers like YNW Melly, then you'll know that guns are readily available in the state of Florida. In fact, the majority of people in the state seem to be armed to the teeth. And much like the city itself, the gangs that roam the
I also live in a state right now where it's free carry. You don't need a permit to carry a handgun anymore. You just can't be a felon at the point of purchase, and it's created this wacky arms race where when they drop the laws, it's like all the law-abiding citizens purchase to protect themselves because guns started showing up everywhere, and it's young people that seem to carry them and flash them driving by and stuff. And you could specifically spot a reaction to when the law changed. It was Governor Holcomb that did it to us.
Streets of Jacksonville have a long history too.
They
Over
have
the past
similar
few decades,
laws.
many gangs and gangsters have
You don't need a permit to carry a handgun. That's the big one.
called Jacksonville, Florida their home. From Rolling 20s Bloods to Crips, GDs, and Hispanic gangs like MS-13 fleeing other states and setting up shop in Jacksonville. However, the gangsters that we're interested in for the sake of this story are those talented ones who rap. And when it comes to Jacksonville, one of the biggest names to ever come out of the city is, of course, Youngin Ace. Real name Kayanta Bullard, Ace was born in Chicago but moved to Florida as a child. He actually started rapping at the young age of 14, finding himself rolling with a crew of rapping G's called Youngin Gang, a crew apparently founded by Flip the Youngin and Trigger Romo.
They were older than me, I was youngest.
Oh, okay.
But their name was just spelled like Y-U-N-G.
So Ace, along with his Youngin Gang boys, made songs like the early track Go to War, which came along with a music video where they were showing off some heavy artillery. Hell, at one point a dude even pulls out a World War I looking rifle with a goddamn bayonet at the end. Guess these guys are in the trenches for real, for real. Now that music video introduced us to a few other familiar faces that were around Ace in the early days of his career. That includes Ace's blood brother Quan Quan, or 2 Times, and his close homie 23, or RJ. Now this was Ace's first big breakout song, racking up a whopping 100k views in the first first week, going on to rack up a Big Boy M. This was the song that made Ace a bona fide rapper. And despite a minor setback with Ace getting sent to jail on a juvenile charge, with his first taste for success in the music industry, Ace would continue to flood the market with music and raise his profile. So with a lot of success in the rap game and a solid reputation in the streets, Ace's circle of influence in Jacksonville would continue to grow, and over time, fans would begin to recognize the faces of people in his crew. Other people include Kobe, aka 4, Fast Money Goon, Rollo, Red Dot, D De Niro, Ray
There's Fast Money Goon. He was in the Who I Smoke video.
Baz, Trey Shorty, Crazy K, Sosa, or Scotty. Now, at a certain point later on in the story, Ace lost a few of his day one homies and would move away from the Youngin gang, which was originally made up of Ace's day one homies more from the Orange Park and west side of Jacksonville. However, over time and as the story develops, Ace and his remaining friends from the west would grow close to a number of crews on the east side of Jacksonville, forming a new group of crews which would roll together under the name of ATK, something which most people seem to understand as standing for Ace's Top Killers, but for the record, other people have described ATK as potentially standing for Ace to Kill, Aim to Kill, or just being short for attack. So this crew, as they were known, would soon become affiliated with the Melvin Park area of Jacksonville, with several people that represent under the ATK banner hailing from there, including the supposed demon of Jacksonville, K-So. Now, we're going to learn more about this.
K-So. Everyone on Youngin Ace's side, they threaten with K-So, like we'll unleash K-So. Something about they mention him in Who I Smoke. He was the hitter for Youngin Ace. He's in prison now. He's doing life.
This guy as the story goes on, but let me tell you, he is super scary. By his own admission, K-So will quite literally kill for anything.
I kill you if you staring at my fucking bowls. My mama told me kill, cause I be killing niggas. You for real? Man, for real, I be really killing niggas. I don't tell lies. All I do is stay face. Kill any nigga. I do not care where he at.
He ain't lying.
So what happened with K-So? Dude, his music's so bad. But when Youngin Ace blew up, he became influential enough that he tried to bring some of his homies up and turn them onto rapping too. And some of K-So's music, the videos are ridiculous. It's KSOO if you want to go check him out.
We've also got K-So's brother, Boss Goon, ATKYBZ, and also affiliated with ATK are the crew 1200, hailing out of 1200 block on the east side, a crew which back in the day has been referred to as 187 or out west. Now this crew is affiliated with an area running from the TIAA Bank Field to Evergreen Cemetery and up to just before 21st Street. Some members of this group have been known to represent under the S4C, meaning Spaz for Corbin, a reference to a fallen friend of theirs. And you might also see Jump Out or Cuckoo Gang affiliated with members of this group too. And hailing from this area are
a lot of the videos I post are these guys, the Jump Out Gang. That's Wappa with the Choppa and Spinabenz. Spinabenz is probably, besides Julio Folio, my favorite rapper to come out of the drill scene. So I'm a big fan of rappers on both sides. All of the violence is sad. I don't, you don't take sides in beefs because I'm a civilian. I'm not a gang member.
Are several familiar faces such as Spinabenz and his blood brother Wappa with the Chopper, aka Doochie, as well as AT Michi, Bevel 5 or B5, Lil Popper, Greenlight, Lil Leaky, and Suge. So that's the AT.
Spinabenz is so talented. He's still alive. He survived. You'll find a lot of these guys are gone now. They're either in prison or they're on their way to prison or they've been unalived since.
K crew. Now, let's have a look at their ops, KTA. But first, a word from our sponsor.
I'd like to thank the Dr. Phone virtual...
This guy had an annoying ass... Dude, Trap Lord Ross can flow, though. He raps during his commercial here.
ATK's sworn enemies are KTA, which stands for Kill Them All. Not very friendly, that, is it? Just like ATK has its origins in the Youngin gang, it's been said that KTA has its roots in a more organized crew of OG Jacksonville gangsters called PCE, or Problem Child Entertainment. Now, this is a legit gang that was really dismantled in a 2017 RICO case. This saw over 10 senior members from the PCE operation facing racketeering charges for multiple counts of murder and firearms offenses. Now, this group had actually attracted a significant amount of attention from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office following a tragic January 2016 incident when a 22-month-old baby,
this is really sad,
Aiden McClendon, was sadly killed after being sat in the baby seat of a car.
This is what I mentioned earlier, that everyone's been touched by some kind of tragedy. Listen to how it's all connected.
That was targeted in a drive-by shooting. The police were able to connect those bullets that killed that baby to the PCE crime organization, and both of the shooters in this case were convicted of murder.
2 guilty verdicts were read, one for Henry Hayes and one for Kwame Richardson, who were tried separately. Prosecutors say both were targeting a rival gang member when 22-month-old Aiden McClendon was shot and killed while he was sitting in a car with his mother on the city's east side.
But to make things even more crazy, it's been suggested that that 22-month-old baby that was killed was actually a direct relative of Whopper with a Chopper and Spinner Benz. But anyway, regardless of that, with this kind of fuck shit,
it all comes full circle.
Going down in the streets affecting 22-month-old children, it's no surprise that the Jacksonville cops ended up cracking down hard on PCE. But growing up in the midst of—
Well, don't worry, at the end I always end on a funny video.
The budding gang wars on the streets of Jacksonville is a young rapper by the name of Foolio, aka Julio
Rotary,
Foolio,
be cool.
aka Lil Six.
Don't
now
say
this nickname is derived from—
Don't tell people to go away. People can hang out.
The 6 or 6 block in Jacksonville, where Foolio hails from. A territory apparently stretching from 45th and Moncrief up to Avenue B, with Foolio specifically hailing from the Hilltop Village apartments. Now, this area is the north side of Jacksonville, the area which Foolio says is also the most violent part.
I think LP was actually the one that told me a while back I should do a couple videos on the drill rap scene. So give LP credit for it's depressing. Oh, you're fine, Rotary. You say go away, JJ? Oh, I don't know. I might have read it wrong, bro.
I'm from the north side of Jacksonville, 1646 West 45th Street.
Fucking panda.
6. Yeah, that's the most violent side of Jacksonville.
Now, Foolio is considered the most hated rapper in Florida, and it's easy to see why when you consider how he came up. Foolio said that he had to buy his very first gun for protection when he was in just the 7th grade, because apparently he was already beefing with grown men with bigger guns.
A nigga got his first gun in motherfucking 7th grade, 6 going to 7, the Deuce 5, so after that, it was a wrap. We'll always be with grown, older niggas, so shit, they always had the advantage and shit of us. Like, they always had the guns and the cars to pull up on us, and you feel me? We never had that shit.
Foolio's upbringing seems like it was nothing but pain. In fact, his father was murdered when Foolio was only 13 years old, being shot in the head twice in a brutal attack. Apparently retribution after a man that Foolio's father had beaten up a month before came to get back.
That was Foolio's dad. Alright, I'm gonna keep it moving. I got a couple videos I want to show segments from. Let me find the next one. Yeah, this one. So this was the first homicide that escalated the war. This one came from Julio Foolio's end, and it was an attack on Young Ace's crew.
On Tuesday, the 5th of June, 2018, Young Ace was out celebrating the 18th birthday of his close friend, 23,
and this is important. Dude, for some reason, these guys hit each other on their birthdays. Julio Foolio's crew hit Young Ace's crew on 23, a guy named 23's birthday, and Julio Foolio was unalived on his birthday, which you'll see in a little bit during his birthday celebration.
aka RJ, real name Royale Devon Smith Jr. They were seen with Ace's blood brother Quan Quan, real name Trayvon Bullard, as well as their other friend, 4, aka Kobe, real name Jacoby Deshard Groover. And the 4 boys were seen posting on social media in good spirits on their way to dinner.
We ain't supposed to go crying that money out with me, nigga. I made it, ain't nothing the same, man.
Young Ace's first video had just blown up, so they were just starting to get a taste of money and stuff. And yeah, this was a mistake they've all made. They get attacked after going live on Instagram. That you'll see later. That's what happened with Julio Foolio's. He was broadcasting his all-night party, and that's how they tracked him.
I
So these 4 young men were out celebrating and having a meal at the Wasabi Japanese Steakhouse in Jacksonville's St. John's Town Center. This is an open-air mall in the southeast of Jacksonville. Now, while they were there, they made numerous posts to social media, and perhaps it was these very posts right outside the restaurant that they ate at that alerted the ops of Ace and his friend's location. I mean, this image, for example, quite clearly shows the red shutters at the back of that Wasabi restaurant. And I mean,
God, Youngin Ace looks so young there. I mean, the war aged him so much.
no disrespect, but I've never been to Jacksonville in my entire life, but I was able to spot the exact place that they were standing on Google Maps within minutes of pulling up this area on Street View, not even looking that hard. Now, Ace has gone on to say in numerous interviews that he really regrets letting his guard down on this day.
We don't never go out to eat because we don't do nothing fun.
Right, yeah.
So that was like our first time going out like that.
You already said we never do nothing fun because it was so dangerous in the city. They knew that anytime you go try to do something, somebody drives by and fires at you.
And like, I ain't gonna lie, we were slipping.
According to Ace's Vlad TV interview, after the meal, the 4 boys were hanging out in the area and things were cool, perhaps too cool.
We was coming from Wasabi. It was my little brother's 23rd birthday. And, we was just hanging. We pulled up to the light. We were leaving and shit. We was really hanging. Like I said, we were hanging out though. We weren't, you know what I'm saying? We was just hanging out though. We had our guard down, that's what it was.
Now, allegedly, a witness said that there was some kind of argument or altercation between the 4 guys and some other boys at the location they had dinner. However, this is a detail that Youngin Ace has never acknowledged in an interview. However, what he has stated is that he felt that there were people hiding and waiting in that parking lot for his friends to leave.
Ain't nobody just gonna just creep up on me like that.
Yeah.
They have to been sitting outside.
So after leaving the restaurant, the 4 boys got in a car and drove to the intersection at Town Center Parkway and St. John's Bluff, with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office saying that when they got to the red light, another unidentified vehicle pulled up alongside their Chevy sedan, opening fire and then speeding off.
Police say the shooter or shooters pulled up in a car next to the victims at the 295 and Town Center Parkway stoplight before opening fire. Last night we showed you one side of the Chevy sedan full of bullet holes.
This scene was frankly a bloodbath. Some have said that as many as 120 bullets were fired from automatic weapons. And Ace himself later described the scene of the crime in a harrowing complex. Youngin Ace survived the shooting, but he was hit 8 times. However, all 3 of his friends were less fortunate and lost their lives. Ace's blood brother, Trayvon Bullard, aka Quan, aka 2 times, was shot 3 times, including a shot to the head. 23, aka RJ, real name Royale Devon Smith Jr., was shot around 5 times. And 4, aka Kobe, aka Jacoby Deshard Groover, was shot around 12 times. I can't imagine how hurt Ace's heart and body were after this incident. Ace was seen laid up in the hospital, hurt pretty bad, but managed to fight through it and recover in what can only be described as a genuine miracle. But it can't have been easy. In fact, a clip even circulated on social media seemingly depicted Ace in the hospital, looking kind of delirious off the painkillers, replaying the incident.
This clip always bothered me. It was when Ace was finding out, basically, his brother and 2 best friends were gone.
Come forward, I try to hold RJ. I'm trying to hold him. I'm trying to RJ open the door. I open the door, I'm pushing him out. I'm like, bro, I got you, bro, I got you. He grabbed my shirt, like, bro, I can't move. He tell me he can't move, I jump out the car. Cope open the door. Cope said, call it in.
It's wild that someone freaking was in there filming that in that situation, for one. But a lot of times these guys, when something would happen, their first instinct would be to get it out on Instagram. They all seem to use Instagram. That's where they have online communities also. That's something I realized with the drill rap scene, is they exist on Instagram. There were times where Ace and Foley would even talk. They would FaceTime, and hundreds of thousands of people would cram in to watch what they were gonna say to each other. It is just wild, this whole saga.
Well, I mean, a song like this is pretty serious, you know.
So, why I wanted to show what happened with Ace is, after something like that, where you've lost your blood brother and 2 closest friends, it shows how you can end up making songs about unaliving other people that you feel are responsible for these types of acts towards you and the people that are close to you. Nobody goes out and does these things because they like it. I mean, there are people that do, but it's very few.
You know, there's the artistic element of it, but there's also the reality of what you guys are talking about, which is basically talking about dead people. I went down the list of the people you guys mentioned.
Also, this is what makes it drill rap. When I say drill rap, a lot of people are like, don't even understand what I'm saying. It's different than the rap from the past. You know, the rappers we grew up with, Eminem, Tupac, even guys like Tupac that were considered, you know, thug life. The difference is these guys were actually out participating in homicides against each other. That's what makes it drill. And also a thing called self-snitching, which they all started doing, which was in their songs they'll talk about, which is what this is about. They don't hide it. It's led to court cases against them. It's called self-snitching, where you brag and name the people that you've unalived. When a rapper in this genre says, I'm smoking on, that means I unalived them, and they'll name somebody. I own their soul, basically. I smoke on so and so.
That have passed away. Rod K passed away 22. Lil Petey 18. Bibby.
Youngin Ace laughs when they name people that died. He does the same thing when they ask him about Julio Fulio in interviews today. It always bothers me.
16. Lil 9 18. Techie 22. I don't know if I missed anyone or not, but a lot of young men that have passed away. And I know that you guys have had problems and that there's been a lot of back and forth with all this. Why did you decide to do this though?
There's some shit we always do in the city. It's like there's some shit that like the world's starting to see it, but it's something that always went on ever since everybody was little. So it's like it's normal. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's just normal. Everybody do it. Like, it's just normal. I don't see how everybody got so mad. Well,
it's not normal. I don't agree with Ace at all with this. There was nothing normal about what they did with the rap scene. They definitely twisted it. You can find interviews where a lot of the famous rappers from, you know, the older generations, they condemn this genre. Artists shouldn't be out unaliving each other. I consider these guys the poets of their generation, and it's a tragedy when they do this.
Not to the world, but I'm to my people in the city. Cause
also, the young kids, they'll love these guys and look up to them, and it kills them also when they, you know, one of them passes on. It really upsets the fans. That's one thing that was interesting about this war also, is most of the fans seem to want it to stop because they like the music on both sides. Most of the fans I encounter, anyways.
It ain't nothing that just happened. I'm to be honest, nobody got mad because of the names. It was never because of the names. In the city, they got mad because of how big the song got. It was never because of the name. They didn't care for the name. If it was just hitting 1 million views, nobody wouldn't care about the names. It's the fact that it got so big and they hearing everybody say it, so now they mad. It was never about the names. Them people don't even.
And I'm going to play a clip here next. Julio Fulio spoke about this, that one of the names he names in Who I Smoke is Little Bibby, who was 16 years old, and it was a kid that Julio Fulio was mentoring. And they unalived him, and then mentioned him by name in a song. And Julio Fulio talked about how he would be at lights, and cars would roll up playing the song, you know, and this whole carload is clowning about a 16-year-old kid that you were trying to, you know, watch out for that was unalive, basically your little brother. And yeah, you could see how that would trigger someone to commit acts of, you know, violence that they might not normally do.
Yeah, and it got big.
For sure.
And it got big. I mean, before this song, and you'll have to excuse me because I don't know every song in your catalog, but Were you saying stuff like this in previous songs as well?
Not really.
Not really.
So this is your first time about talking about.
Probably like you know.
They were
first time I went crazy
flashing
like that.
guns.
But I don't really like
stuff,
they ain't really my cup of tea. I guess I like to make real music. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a part of that kind of shocked the world. You know what I'm saying? But like I try to stay away from that type of rap music like that because I know like how powerful my mouth is.
See, he gets it at least. All right, I'm gonna play. Let me see. This the one about Bibby. This is probably the saddest tragedy from the whole case, if you ask me. Whole
Gunfire erupts
saga.
inside a Northwest Side apartment complex. It leaves this 16-year-old dead. Neighbors say that the shooting sounded like a war zone. Sky 4 captured the large crime scene outside the Hilltop Village apartment complex off 45th Street just before.
This is the one that really fueled the war. After this, there were bodies dropping everywhere also.
3 this afternoon.
Family members have identified the 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed inside the parking lot of Hilltop apartment complex as Adrian Gaynor Jr. Yes, several hours ago,
people loved that kid. Everyone who talked about him, the whole neighborhood, and it wasn't anything he did. It was simply because he was connected to Julio Fulio. That's all it was. They couldn't get Julio Fulio. They took shots at him. He survived, so they got, his little brother, basically.
There was a large group of people that gathered here at this memorial site to pay respects to the young man who lost.
So, see how Youngin Ace had the situation with his brother and his best friends, and then Julio Fulio had Bibby, and that's what turned him into the street demon of Duval County.
Lost his life here. Eyewitnesses are telling us now that Gaynor was being chased to this exact spot where he lost his life.
On February 25th, 2019, 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor Jr., aka Bibby, was shot dead in a brazen attack carried out with automatic weapons at the Hilltop Village apartments in Jacksonville. This hit was allegedly carried out by Queso, and today,
there's Queso.
He is still being held on charges of murder for this case. However, just like
So here's the tragedy. Queso was found guilty of a different organized homicide. So he's doing life already. So they're just kind of dragging their feet on doing the trial of Bibby because he's already doing life. There's nothing else you can get him with.
We said earlier that Barner wasn't charged for quite some time. Queso would remain free for over 2 years after the murder of Bibby. And I'll be honest, Queso pretty much spent that entire 2 years on a self-snitching world tour. In fact, the eventual indictment against Queso for Bibby's murder included references to social media posts Queso had made where he appeared to mock Bibby's death and take responsibility for it.
The report also says Robinson, quote, posted several photographs and videos bragging about the murder. It took 2 years before police issued this arrest warrant for Robinson.
A few days after the killing, Bibby's mother marched, vowing to get justice for her son.
This evening, loved ones gathered to remember a local 16-year-old. He was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Northwest Jacksonville apartment complex.
For the first time tonight, we're hearing from Adrian Gaynor's family, who's seeking justice for his death.
We pray for the mother, oh God, Miss Elizabeth, oh Father Lord. God,
as friends and relatives gathered under this gazebo to remember 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor, his mom and his grandmother begged for the violence on Jacksonville streets to stop.
Y'all get together and y'all pray. And put it down. Please put it down.
Gaynor's mother says she will not rest until the shooters are captured.
I'm gonna rock.
She was saying, please put the guns down. And it's got to be hard to not only lose your son, but then watch the news and watch all these other bodies drop throughout the city and know it's guys out there doing revenge for your son. And you don't want any more violence. And these are guys that were his best friends from, growing up that think it's their duty to avenge him.
This city, until they get justice for my baby, until everybody involved are arrested, I am going to shake Duval County.
A while after this, Queso ended up responding on social media, dissing Bibby and mocking his mum for calling for a march over his death.
Queso's probably the most hated person throughout this whole saga. Queso is probably the most despicable character out of all of them, and Youngin Ace weaponized him. But they grew up together too, so.
Made his ass. Poor ass dead nigga. And they got his mama walking around, March. We're gonna get him, March.
Queso.
See, what are they all hanging out on there? Is that Instagram? I made a Instagram account just to try to see what the setup was, because I kind of wanted to be, I was curious. They all hang out online. A lot of them get convicted from stuff that was discovered during these online chats, even FaceTiming with each other.
Also made
They'll get on there and talk shit back and forth, FaceTiming, and thousands of people pile in there and watch it like it's a show. Love you too, bro.
Disrespectful posts about Bibby, including making like funny little animations that I would say are kind of early flashes of the kind of crazy disrespect that we would see later on in this beef when Who I Smoke dropped.
In the air with Bibby, I'm flying with Bibby, Bibby, I'm flying.
But Queso wasn't the only one talking about the death of
Dude, it's just so next level grimy.
Bibby. In fact, the entire ATK side were taking disrespect to brave new levels. Whopper with the Chopper even went as far as to post a photograph of Bibby's dead body to his Instagram story along with the caption, "Spit on dicks."
Oh my
a picture
God.
which is obviously too shocking to show you on YouTube. And I'm not actually sure if Queso posted this picture himself. I mean, hell, he might have even taken it. But it just goes to show you how far these guys will go. Now, Fulio was...
So, yeah, that's absolutely horrifying that they did that, but what that does is it lets everyone know that either I was involved in it because it's a photo of when it happened, or I am close with somebody who was involved in it. It's basically a way to take ownership for it and prove that you're not just bullshitting, because there were a lot of people trying to
was particularly close to
take
Bibby.
credit.
A year after Bibby's murder, he dropped the heartfelt tribute song Bibby's Story, trying to give a more positive reflection on his fallen brother. The music video had tons of throwback footage of Bibby in it, but on the song, Fulio also reveals some dark details about his relationship with Bibby, saying at one point that Bibby had caught a body by the time he was 16, which is the age that he was killed, going on to suggest that Fulio was aware that the murder that Bibby had committed at this young age had been playing on his mind before he was killed. Fulio went on to say, "You was killing shit for me, that's why I want to kill myself." And going on to later rap, "You know I'm killing about your name because you killed for me. He say he smoking Bibby, now he resting in peace."
So now, yeah, I want to show a little bit of Fulio talking before his life was taken.
Okay, so you moved to Atlanta, and you end up hooking up with Zaytoven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who's one of the big talents out there.
Definitely.
This is Vlad TV on YouTube. You can find all these interviews. It's a really good channel if you're into rap culture and all that stuff.
OG.
I mean, from the Bay, like me.
Yeah.
I've interviewed him a couple of times. This is the guy behind Gucci. This is the guy behind a lot of Future's early stuff. I mean, pretty much everyone in Atlanta ends up fucking with Zaytoven at some point in their career.
Definitely.
And you guys actually do a project together.
Whole project, yup.
Okay, how did that feel to do a whole project with like a legendary producer like Zaytoven?
Bro, I ain't gonna cap. It was so real to the point it felt like fate. Like, I'm like, damn, I'm really with Zay, like, and while I'm with him, all these famous people popping up to the studio.
If you haven't heard any Julio Fulio music and you do like rap, he was poised to be the next king of rap. His shit's better than anything you hear from. Dude, that Kendrick Lamar stuff on the radio, it puts all that garbage to shame. And he was taken, so young. And, his music is just next level good. It's just such a shame. And, yeah.
Like I'm saying,
if you like rap music, you really would probably enjoy it. Go check it out. It was cut so short because his catalog of music's so small because, right when he got big, he was
and all these people, like, he hooking me up with all these people. I'm like, damn, like, Zay a real one. Like, we probably did like we did so many songs to the point we could have did like 2 projects, like 2-3 projects, you know. Like yeah, I got major love for Zay. He took me on tour with him. I did like probably like 5-6 shows with him. He took me on tour. Like he just showed mad love. Like that's why I always got love for Zay. Yeah.
Okay, and then 2018, that was like the year that things really started to take off for you.
What did I really can't remember what I dropped in 2018. Yeah.
Well, you put out Crooks.
Oh, yep. That was my biggest song at that time, matter of fact.
Dude, Crooks is one of Fulio's best songs.
That was my biggest.
I was gonna play some short little clips of some of the songs and like lyrics when they reference things that are relevant that I've talked about and they've shown in these videos. But I did a little thing on Grok asking like, how can I play some Folio and Youngie Nace and music videos, like just segments, without getting copyrighted? And fucking Grok was trying to like almost talk me out of it. It was like, you can claim fair use, but make sure they're only a couple seconds, and then like, so it was just wild. So I wasn't sure about the rules, so I didn't play any clips. But go watch, listen to Crooks. It's really good.
Good song.
Okay, and then you did Slide.
Yep, that was the Slide remix. Yeah, that was when I was like picking up steam, because I wasn't really dropping on Worldstar then. Then I went to dropping on Worldstar for the first time, and like everything went to picking up, like my views, my following, and everything. Yeah.
Right, I think you dropped Voodoo right around that time also.
Voodoo was out there, yep.
Voodoo's really good too.
Okay, so how does it feel to come, you moved to a whole different city, whole different state.
Yeah.
After grinding for so long, you got a project with Zaytoven, and you got a bunch of songs that are getting millions of views.
Yeah, like it was like a relief. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great, but I'm looking at like all these artists on Instagram. I'm like, damn, he doing this, he doing that. I could do that shit too. I need to do this. I need to do that. So it just put me like in
that's kind of similar to what I did with YouTube and content creation. I saw people doing it, and I was like, I bet I could do that. I want to see if I could do that.
In a like grind mode. Like I'm like, I gotta grind hard. Like I'm like, I gotta grind harder.
Okay, is the money starting to come at this point?
Money was coming, but it wasn't really like a lot. Like I wasn't signing no label. You know what I'm saying? Like so, everything I'm getting is like all me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I probably had like 70,000 followers. Yeah, like 70, 80,000 followers. So I had got a blue check on Instagram. So yeah.
So everything he was making was from offline. Everything was the internet. Him hustling and doing. He probably had a lot of what they call it, where there's another term people talk about. You can join and it costs like $1 a month or something. Ground level income, but it's probably still good money, man. He started coming out at the tail end of the SoundCloud scene. There's an app called SoundCloud, and it created a lot of these homegrown rappers. And he kind of came in and at the tail end of that. And this is kind of corny, but I grew up on punk rock, and that's kind of the music genre I stuck to. And it was because there was no overlord production companies, tinkering with their art. And what I found in the SoundCloud scene and these guys like Julio Folio, Youngie Nace, Spinabins, is their music was complete pure. And it's, to me, the last existing form of punk rock, because it's being produced by their friends, guys in their class, the nerd in the group. Everything's homegrown, and there's no one interfering with the art form. It's poetry and with music, and that's why I've always kind of like the SoundCloud and drill rap scene. Tekashi 6ix9ine, I became a fan of. Trippy Red, that whole crew.
Okay, is there a reason why at that time you didn't sign any labels? Because like you say, I mean, people were already calling, and now you actually have, you know, more so than just a Say Cheese shout out. I mean, now you actually have songs, and now you have projects, and you got Zaytoven behind you. Like, why not sign with someone and just get a big upfront check like a lot of artists do?
Cause it was like, I was like just looking at everything that was going on around me, and the contracts I was getting wasn't that good. Like, I had an entertainment lawyer, and every time I sent it to him, he read.
He didn't want to sell himself short. He knew he was poised to be the next king.
We go over. He like, man.
So you don't want to sell
They trying to keep
yourself
your masters for like 20 years, and I'm like, what? Nah, that ain't that. We can't do that. Like, ain't nothing. And I wasn't no buzzing artist. Like, I was doing good, but I wasn't a buzzing artist. So, you know, the labels, you gotta like either already have a lot of numbers, or you gotta like, you know, like for them to really negotiate with you. And they wasn't like, some of them, they wasn't trying to negotiate what I wanted. So I just waited it out.
Okay. So
you already said he waited it out. That's the mistake a lot of artists make, is they are unable to wait it out. It's called betting on yourself.
Your career, things are doing well, but back home in Florida, there was the whole beef that was kind of brewing with you and your people and Young and Ace and his people.
Yeah.
And a bunch of shit started happening around that. Now, in terms of your relationship with Young and Ace, did you guys know each other? And what was the whole, you know, like the reason behind all the craziness that was happening?
I don't know. I ain't really like me and him was always mutual. Like, it wasn't no fuck you, and it wasn't like we cool, like we was mutual. Like,
it seemed like a lot of it was the people around him warring. And they kind of stayed mutual. And one of his songs, he even says, "I could never hate on Young and Ace. We got the same dream." Like, between them two, it's like there was always a mutual respect. They would even go in these little FaceTime rooms.
you get what I'm saying? Like, we used to hang around some of the same people. Yeah.
Okay.
There's zero doubt that Young and Ace had him unalived, though. He brags about it. They dropped a song right when Julio was unalived called "Do It," and the music video was Young and Ace like giving the order. Like, they had the diss song ready to go before he was hit. I'm gonna show a video next, and you'll see that.
In terms of your crew names, Young and Ace is ATK.
Dude, I should have, bro. That would have killed. If I would have showed up with the freaking Heaven's Gate haircut, it would have been so funny. I asked him for the Hitler instead.
You're KTA, right?
I don't know if my barber would have been able to pull that shit off. If I would have maybe showed him a picture of all of them, like, I need this. He definitely would have charged me more. I mean, like, I don't do those types of cuts. You need to go to Great Clips.
Nah, my label ESPN. It's like ESPN, but it's a 6 with an SS, so it's E6PN.
Okay, so what's KTA?
That's something the internet came up with, bro. Like, the internet,
Okay.
Anytime he's asked about his crew, he gives the honest or the real gangster answer. I actually kind of love it. All right, this is the last one I want to show, the tragic end of Julio Folio, and we're going to get ready to wrap it up.
A Florida rapper's shocking murder is caught on camera.
And you can see the shooters are getting in position for their planned out murder.
Now near.
So, this happened right after my favorite WWE wrestler died from COVID too. So I lost my dad, and then I think shortly right after that, Bray Wyatt died from COVID complications, and then Julio Folio was unalived. It was all in a couple months.
A Florida rapper's shocking murder is caught on camera.
And you can see the shooters.
I gotta let it grow back out.
Planned out murder.
Now, nearly a month after the rapper's sudden death, authorities are announcing multiple arrests in the case. On June 23rd of this year, rapper Charles Jones II, better known by his stage name Julio Fulio, was celebrating his birthday at a hotel in Tampa, Florida. It was there when he was ambushed in the hotel's parking lot and gunned down. The shocking crime was captured on the hotel's surveillance video. In the first few seconds of the clip, a dark-colored vehicle is seen outside the hotel's entrance.
This is Law and Crime on YouTube. It's fair use. I'm educating about violence and the gang war in Jacksonville. These guys followed him. They came all the way from another city and tailed him and set it up, and it was so calculated.
But within seconds, two individuals are seen running with dark-colored masks
Watch
on,
this.
as officials say both had firearms in their hands. Then another individual appears on camera, also with the firearm coming from another direction.
Ambush.
Shortly after, bullets are seen flying as one of the gunmen is seen on surveillance video firing off multiple rounds into the...
That's a Draco or a long gun. So either an AR or probably a Draco. Yeah, I think you can see the banana clip, so it's probably a AK style or Draco.
vehicle with Jones
Chopper,
inside
they
riding
call it.
in the passenger seat. The Jacksonville rapper was pronounced dead and 3 others were injured in the shooting. But within a month, authorities would get their break in the case and quickly track down their suspects.
A little more than a month ago.
Look at this shit. So this is where I really started to pay attention to, is when they made arrest in the case. This girl in the middle, she took care of all the logistics. She organized the bed and breakfast that they all stayed at, the hit team. That's her boyfriend to the far right. And these people, they're all facing life. This is the hit team. And it was just shocking that this young girl did probably more than anybody. She made all the phone calls, everything. She organized the whole thing pretty much.
A group of individuals with the goal of premeditated murder traveled from Jacksonville to Tampa to commit a heinous crime in our city. I said at that time that we would make arrest and get justice in this case for all the victims, including the mother of Charles Jones, who traveled from Jacksonville this morning to be present for this announcement. Today, I stand before Tampa Police Major Pat Messmer, Jacksonville Sheriff.
That picture right there was Julio Fulio and Kojak. Kojak was Fulio's probably right-hand man. He's in a lot of the videos.
TK Waters and Hillsborough State Attorney Susie Lopez to announce the arrest of 3 people in the deadly shooting of Charles Jones, also known by his stage name of Julio Fulio. In addition, we have warrants and are actively searching for 2 other individuals in this case.
During a press conference on July 29th, a little more than a month after the deadly shooting, officials announced the arrest of 3 people.
And to me, those are almost kids, They look like barely, maybe early 20s, teenagers.
21-year-old Isaiah Chance
21.
Jr., 21-year-old Alicia Andrews,
21.
and 18-year-old Sean
18.
Gathright.
I called it 18.
At the time, authorities were still looking for the 2 other suspects, Rashad Murphy and Davion Murphy. But officials were clear all 5 played a role in the...
Davion Murphy was the last one to get caught, and he was clowning all the police in Jacksonville on Instagram. He would go live, and he was jumping safe houses. They chased him around for a while.
Rapper's death.
These individuals took extreme measures to try to cover their actions, but they were no match for our investigators. Isaiah Chance, Alisa Andrews, Sean Gathright, Davion Murphy, and Rashard Murphy are all accused of playing a role in Jones's death and are all charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree, premeditated, with the discharge.
So, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, these people got caught actually doing the deed, but what about the people that put the hit in process? Young Enace, they are pursuing RICO charges against him, and the word on social media lately has been they're coming any day. They're about to pick him up.
charge of a firearm, and 1 count of conspiracy of murder in the first degree, premeditated with the discharge of a firearm. Chance, Andrews, and Gaithright were arrested over the weekend in Jacksonville. Davion Murphy and Rashard Murphy are still fugitives of justice, and we are working closely with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshals to apprehend them.
According to Tampa Police Chief Lee Burkaw, the group followed Fulio after his location for his birthday celebration was posted on social media for his 1 million followers to see. And
see, so that led to his ambush also, broadcasting his location online, just like how the ambush with Youngin Ace was triggered by him putting his location on Instagram. That puts it in motion. Both sides have been hit that way. Everything comes full circle. It's just such a crazy story.
the shocking surveillance video would prove critical in the case.
Jones was in town celebrating his birthday and posted on his social media his locations several times throughout that night. Surveillance video was critical in this investigation, as suspects were seen on video following Jones from location to location. This shows the lengths that these individuals were willing to go through and achieve that this murder would occur. At 4:15 in the morning, Jones began to head to a hotel on McKinley. One of the suspect vehicles is seen following the victim.
Bro, I was gonna grow it really long, and I was gonna redo the shot of the guy from Mayhem, Euronymous. Those photos of him with all the like mime makeup and the swords, and that's why I let it get so long. That's the longest my hair's ever been, and it just started bugging me too much. I didn't know what to do with it, and it was all over the place, so I just was like, just cut it all off.
However, instead of following...
But I should have taken the Euronymous photos first. But I could do the Heaven's Gate ones, probably. I just have to grow it out a little bit longer. I'll shoot my own testimonial. I'll get like a dorky sweater and stuff.
Following them into a parking lot.
Like I'm getting on the spaceship.
At 4:38,
and I'll dub it in between
exited a vehicle and walked in the direction of the hotel. They murdered Jones with a handgun and 2 rifles. This barrage of gunfire also struck 3 additional victims who miraculously survived this incident.
Many questions lingered as to why the Jacksonville rapper was brutally murdered, but Chief Burkaw said Fulio was targeted during an ongoing gang feud.
The investigation would later reveal that the 3 armed shooters were Sean Gaithright, Rashard Murphy, and Davion Murphy. Detectives used footage from the scene, license plate readers, and phone logs to identify 2 vehicles and link them back to the suspects. Furthermore, it was found that the shooters are members of or affiliated with rival gangs of Jones that go by ATK and 1200.
See, once he named ATK there, Youngin Ace was on radar. Because, I mean, it's ATK, Ace's top killers. Once he named him, Youngin Ace knew. And he's still on Twitter. You can talk to him.
Was part of the 6 Block gang. Detectives believe that the ATK and the 1200 worked together to target Jones as part of an ongoing feud in Jacksonville.
This was right after it happened, too. They were already on him.
A clear message to anyone that the city of Tampa is not where you want to come to settle a dispute. You will be charged, you will be arrested, and you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent possible. Furthermore, if you're a gang member, there's no alleged immunity through a cone of silence, as our detectives will find evidence needed to make an arrest and hold everyone accountable.
So far, they've all stayed pretty quiet. Nobody's mentioned Ace. They've all stayed pretty quiet.
Just as we did in this case. Then, you will be prosecuted by our tenacious state attorney, Susie Lopez.
Then a day after the press conference, another break in the case. With only one of the alleged gunmen behind bars, warrants were still out for Rashad and Davion Murphy, the two other alleged gunmen. But overnight, authorities apprehended Rashad Murphy at an apartment complex in Jacksonville. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, negotiators spent hours attempting to get Murphy out before additional units, including SWAT, used their own tactics to force him out before he was arrested. Now authorities are still on the lookout for the remaining suspect and other alleged triggerman, Davion Murphy.
It was a celebration for him, and unfortunately, some people allegedly took that opportunity to
Is that Lopez?
Go up to Tampa and take his life.
Attorney Afi Patterson explains the shocking crime was an organized hit.
Attorney.
And once the 5 suspects tracked Fulio down through social media, they were easily able to carry out the brazen crime.
Yeah, I don't know that I would call it a level of sophistication. I think, nowadays everybody uses social media. If you're somebody who wants to track down, your ex, or if you want to know what's going on with your current partner, you're going to use social media. I don't think that, requires a ton of sophistication. I don't know that, maybe you can use that argument and tie it to the argument that it's gang related, a level of organization. But yeah, I don't know that I would call it sophistication, but I definitely
It was
believe that he
sophisticated.
had a target on his head.
It was very sophisticated. They had a young girl calling and making the bed and the B&B reservations, so it sounded like everything was going to be chill. It was sophisticated. I don't think they're giving him enough credit there. All the weapons were untraceable. It's sophisticated.
The 5 suspects were also identifiable as the murder was captured in clear surveillance footage.
We look in this situation, we have, I think there's like at least an 18-year-old, there's maybe a 21-year-old, a 30-year-old.
Especially for people that young.
So I look at the younger people and I look at, their experiences with law and crime, if you will, their experiences with actions and consequences. And I also take a look at, what is their outlook on life? What do they have to live for and what do they have to lose? And a lot of times, we know, when you're in middle school, when you're in high school, kids do things and, they don't always look at the long-term effect.
I think there are offshoots of Heaven's Gate still in operation. There were a couple members that survived. There was the guy that was supposed to distribute the videotapes, and that they probably went on to still believe in all the UFOlogy craziness, and you could probably hook back up with them and either restart your own little faction of Heaven's Gate, or there's probably still a group in existence that is either offshoot of Heaven's Gate or still might be called Heaven's Gate. I'll look into it if I remember, and I'll say something tomorrow. Dude, there's Sandia ET. Sandia Wisdom is the account, and they're very similar. It's people who think they're in contact with extraterrestrials living in a mountain, kind of like in Jolly's story. And it's a cult where if that account told them to, they would probably Heaven's Gate themselves. They're very devoted. I've talked to them a few times. I've even got the account to respond to me. They talk about pinging all the time, and that the spaceship will come visit you if you ping hard enough. And I kept like commenting on it, telling it that it wasn't coming to visit me. And Sandia commented or sent me like a weird DM like, I can faintly hear your ping, but I think you might be doing things to limit your signal and a bunch of dumb shit. But you got to be respectful to Sandia because it might actually be an alien.
Of it, they don't understand what someone has to lose. So I look at it as, there's such brazenness because they haven't really been exposed to consequences. And they really don't understand everything.
Well, Yogi Ace did 8 months in jail, so he understood consequences. Yeah, that's about the end of it. Just a really sad story all around, but the music's still exists and it's amazing. Um, Here, I'll show a little bit about Queso here.
First, today we now know a local rapper and his cousin will spend the rest of their lives in prison. Hakeem Robinson, also known as Queso, along with Leroy Whitaker Jr., were sentenced today in the death of Charles McCormick Jr. Our Haja Baj joined us live outside the Duval County Courthouse this evening. And Haja, tell us more about what happened inside the courtroom.
Yeah, guys, I was in the courtroom today when Robinson and Whitaker found out they'll be spending the rest of their lives behind bars without parole.
Yeah, we need Hale Bob to come back around. Dude, that incident with what was it? There's been a couple of them. The meteors that go by that they think are spaceships. That shit reminds me of Heaven's Gate when they start doing that stuff. Nobody ever connects the dots either on like news channels and stuff. Like, wait a minute, there was another group that talked about spaceships and space junk. It's just all right, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up here. I don't want to go too much longer. The last video I'm gonna show, this I always try to end on something kind of funny, and I talked a little bit about the SoundCloud scene, the SoundCloud rapper scene, and some of the characters that came through there were so funny. And I don't know if you guys ever
Evan
knew.
chimed in and jumped in on the hate train.
I don't know if you guys ever heard Little Xan. He came through the SoundCloud scene. He almost blew up. He got real close, but he self-destructed. And yeah, we'll watch a couple minutes of this as the cleanser to, you know, get us back on something a little lighter, even though this is actually a little sad too. But.
I want to show y'all what mental illness really looks like. I just did this to my car. Scratched it, keyed it up. I just bought it. I just bought this car.
Bro, I need help. Man, shut your bitch ass up.
The thing is, under this video, people are commenting, yo, I wish that Lil Skies was dead instead of X.
SoundCloud rappers are a huge topic in
Panda, you know about Little Xan? You a fan, Little Xan?
hip-hop. They got famous fast, made a lot of noise online, and changed rap forever. And while some of them succeeded and made it big, others didn't. So what happened to the ones that fell off? I'm Rashad Bashir, and this is where the failed SoundCloud rappers now. And first up, we got Lil Xan. But before we talk about how things went wrong, we have to go over how he blew up. You see, Lil Xan's name was everywhere in 2017, arguably the peak of SoundCloud rap.
2017, he called it arguably the peak of SoundCloud. I was paying attention in 2017. I remember I was working at a warehouse that did the chrome finish on rims. It was a hell of a ball busting job. They came off on an assembly line and I had to stack them and put them on pallets and then move them out as they were coming off. It was a bitch, but we would take turns breaking in music, and Little Xan's awful album came out and I brought it in and pissed so many people off.
You can't talk about that era without mentioning him, especially after his breakout single, Betrayed. It was one of the hottest songs of 2017, peaking at number 64 on Billboard and eventually going platinum. So things had to be
Go check out some Little Xan if you haven't heard Little Xan.
Looking up for him, right? Well,
oh,
exactly.
No shit.
As fans mocked his name.
Look at this guy. And this is what SoundCloud rappers were kind of known for, was being characters. Like, that's why I kind of considered it punk rock in a way. It was all about just like, I don't know, it was just a rare time.
Name and appearance, but that was the point. His stage name Lil Xan was a clever marketing ploy, and it worked.
The face tattoos and stuff too were a big trademark of the whole scene.
Became Lyrical Lemonade's most viewed video for a time, and as of today, the video has over 500 million views on YouTube. But soon after, labels came calling, and for a 20-year-old Lil Xan, signing for $5 million was a no-brainer. Now, all he had to do was drop his debut.
See, dude, we were just talking about it. Julio Folio didn't take that deal. He bet on himself. Little Xan was, you know, he knew he wasn't an artist.
Album, Total Xanarchy, to meet the expectations of fans from a SoundCloud rapper who had just dropped a hit. The question was, could Lil Xan do it? And well, right from the jump, things weren't looking too good. However, instead of focusing on his album's release by doing a proper rollout, Lil Xan had other plans instead, and accidentally drew the anger of hip-hop fans from around the world. For some context, he sat down
This is so funny, Gail. This shit is hilarious.
with Revolt TV for an interview to help promote his album. I was asked to rate various artists. It started off quite well, with him rating Drake's God Plan highly.
A great song. Great song. God's Plan is super dope. Drake's big influence. Love him.
He took his sweet time giving Drake an 8 out of 9, but when asked about Tupac and his music, he didn't hesitate for a second, immediately giving the West Coast legend.
Watch this shit. So he gave Drake an 8. They were playing videos, and he had just broken onto the rap scene, and then they brought up Tupac, and watch how he reacts. It's so funny.
A laughably low score.
2. Boring music.
You heard that right. Lil Xan called Tupac's music boring. And as you can imagine,
it's boring music. I'm gonna rewind it. Look, watch his lip kind of like quiver, like where he knows everyone's like, wait, what did he just say? I'm gonna give my opinion after.
Could Lil Xan do it? And well, right from the jump, things weren't looking too good. However, instead of focusing on his album's release by doing a proper rollout, Lil Xan had other plans instead, and accidentally drew the anger of hip-hop fans from around the world. For some context, he sat down with Revolt TV for an interview to help promote his album. I was asked to rate various artists. It started off quite well, with him rating Drake's God Plan highly.
A great song. Great song. God's Plan is super dope. Drake's big influence. Love him.
He took his sweet time giving Drake an 8 out of 9, but when asked about Tupac and his music, he didn't hesitate for a second, immediately giving the West Coast legend a laughably low score.
2. Boring music.
You heard that right. Lil Xan called Tupac's music boring. And as you can imagine, this drew a lot of criticism, especially online. Even Revolt, the company who did the interview, had to put out a disclaimer, saying, the views and opinions expressed in this video are those of Lil Xan.
They had to put out a disclaimer. They were getting so much shit from softy Tupac fans that they had to put out a disclaimer being like, he said it not.
Xan only, because they already knew his rating was about to cook up a storm. One fan commented, if Tupac was alive, this guy wouldn't even be a rapper. But it wasn't just the fans who were piling on Lil Xan for his disrespectful comment. Rappers and other hip-hop figures had something to say about it as well. Starting off with Waka Flocka Flame, who did
look at all these tough guy rappers and how bad it pissed them off.
Didn't hold back and outright tried to ban Lil Xan from hip-hop by tweeting, Lil Xan banned from hip-hop. Even radio like Hot 97 chimed in and jumped in on the hate train.
Anytime you are asked about Tupac or B.I.G., you better get that answer correct, sir.
Yeah, it's just, even if you literally are the world's lightest.
Okay, I'm gonna give my opinion now. I totally disagree with all of these wankers. I love it. The Little Xan said, "Fuck Tupac. I think it's boring music," especially if that's his honest opinion. I absolutely love it, and I think this idea that these younger generations need to like or respect the music we grew up on is so fogey and old-timey. And this shit, them saying, no, you just show respect. Fuck that. Like, that's what made SoundCloud and these guys different.
This Tupac fan of all time, it ain't worth it. In hip hop, some things just are not tolerated.
Nope, you better respect the legends.
It's just what it is,
especially if they're not here.
So, upon seeing this, Xan released a series of tweets blaming Revolt instead of himself for the situation. I love my fans to death, but I can't let these companies keep taking advantage of me and using me to further their stuff. He also said that he was done with interviews. No more interviews.
So, alright, we're gonna go ahead and end on that one. Yeah, I absolutely disagree with all of that shit. These younger guys, Tekashi 6ix9ine was another one. They don't need to respect anything. This younger generation, it's their turn. And I think, dude, honestly, it took huge balls to be honest. And if that's his honest opinion, if he thinks it's boring, the music's boring and it doesn't relate to him or his generation, I props to Little Xan for having the nuts to say it. And I'm actually disappointed that there weren't any other rappers that were kind of like, nah, man, like that's what rap is about, is, expressing yourself honestly and saying fuck that guy. So, yeah, I think that was an L for hip hop and a W for Little Xan. That's just my opinion on it. It could bother people, but that's what it is. And dude, I love Tupac. I grew up on Tupac. I loved Tupac. I was crushed when he died, all that. But we don't need to conform. We don't need to force the younger generations to conform to what we think is cool. That's like one of the most uncool things we could do as, you know, the next generation in line. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and end this show. We had a lot of people coming through. I really appreciate everyone hanging out. Everyone getting along in the chat for the most part. I want this to be a place where everyone can come hang out, even if they don't fucking like me, as long as they're not really bothering anyone or anything. I don't care. Um, and my numbers from last night's show were eh, better. Like, each shows the numbers have been a little better, which is a promising sign. So I'll probably keep doing it until it dies off. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go subscribe, like, retweet, all that stuff. Red Panda Koala's in here all the time, so it's not like him or any of his friends would give anyone a hard time for retweeting my show and being on the list of subscribers or stuff. That would be pretty hypocritical if he did that. So yeah, go ahead and support me. It's all good. And I will be live probably tomorrow, probably around the same time tomorrow. Got to come up with something to, make shows about. That's the challenge. But good chance I'll be on live tomorrow. Thanks everyone for hanging out. If you want to support financially, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/TeeJay Felony. You can support anonymously. Just leave your name blank. You got to put your email address in, but nobody sees that. And also at co-fi.com/TeeJay Felony. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go do that. And thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Be good to each other. I'll be over on X probably, so if you guys want to go over there, it's at Felony Talk on X, and I will see you probably tomorrow. Peace out.